Hi kids, welcome back to Storytime with Jay. Today we're going to be reading Cinderella. I know all of you know the story of Cinderella, and this book was illustrated by Bryan. So let's read the book. Once upon a time, there was a kind girl called Cinderella. Cinderella had to clean the house all day long, so she had no nice clothes and was always covered in dust and dirt. But worst of all, Cinderella lived with a stepmother and stepsisters who were very mean to her. Cinderella lived in a country ruled by a king, and that king had a son who was a kind prince. "It's time you got married," said the king. "I'll host a grand ball so you can meet all the young ladies in the land." The next day, an invitation arrived at Cinderella's house. "To the ladies of the house, the king invites you to a royal ball with dancing and ice cream at the palace. Please wear your very finest ball gown." Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were all very excited. "The prince is sure to fall in love with one of you," said the stepmother. They made so much noise that Cinderella came in from the kitchen. "May I go to the ball?" she asked. "Don't be silly, Cinderella. The prince would never marry you," said the stepmother. On the night of the ball, Cinderella had to help her stepsisters get ready. "Fetch my tiara," shrieked one stepsister. "Find my hair ribbon," shouted the other. After everyone had left to go to the palace, Cinderella cried and cried because she really wanted to go to the ball too. As Cinderella sobbed by the fire, a friendly-looking lady suddenly appeared. "I am your fairy godmother," she said. "I am here to make your dream come true. Come with me." Out in the moonlight garden, the fairy godmother quickly got to work. "We need 3 mice and a pumpkin." With a wave of a wand, the fairy godmother turned the pumpkin into a beautiful carriage. 2 mice became prancing horses, and the 3rd mouse became a coachman. Cinderella's ragged clothes became a beautiful ball gown, and glass slippers appeared on her feet. As she left for the palace, Cinderella's fairy godmother gave her a warning. "The magic only lasts until midnight," she said. "You must be home by then." When Cinderella entered the ballroom, everyone turned to look at her. "She looks familiar," said the stepsisters. "I'm sure we've seen her somewhere before." Right away, the prince asked Cinderella to dance. Cinderella and the prince danced all night long. But when the clock struck midnight, Cinderella remembered her fairy godmother's warning. "Dong, dong." "Oh no," cried Cinderella. "I must go." As Cinderella ran from the ballroom, one of her glass slippers fell off. The prince picked it up. "I will marry the girl whose foot fits this shoe," he said. Moments later, Cinderella's carriage turned back into a pumpkin, and the horses and coachman became mice again. Cinderella found herself wearing her ragged clothes once more. The prince searched for Cinderella for weeks and months. At last he arrived at Cinderella's house. Her stepsisters tried to push their feet into the glass slippers, but they did not fit. Then Cinderella looked in from the kitchen. "Would you please bring the shoe over here so I can try it on?" she said. Cinderella's foot slid easily into the slipper. "It's a perfect fit," she said. "I knew I'd find you in the end," cried the prince. The prince and Cinderella had a wonderful wedding. Even Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were invited. And Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after. The end. So this is the most famous story of Cinderella, and this book was illustrated by Bryan. Join me again tomorrow for another story on Storytime with Jay. If you liked my storytelling for today, don't forget to give me a like, a thumbs up, share, and also if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Rainbows and Butterflies Forever, please do so that you will be able to get all the videos and latest updates from my YouTube channel. So I will see you then on my next Storytime with Jay.